Arriving here and now. Maybe gently closing the eyes if that is safe and available to you. And noticing the body as it is. Noticing if you are in the body right now, or perhaps where in the body you are. Are you that which includes the body? Do you end where your body ends? Does your body have an end? Settling into the body, if that is aligned with you now. Noticing if there are any sensations present in the body, any parts of the body in particular that are calling out for loving awareness and compassionate curiosity. Sinking, grounding, resting, settling into the body, feeling heavy in the seat, heavy in the feet, partnering with gravity to support you in being held by the earth now. Letting the body be held. Letting the body feel supported by the ground, the soil, the earth below. And letting the body be nourished by the vibrant air all around that breathes through every cell, with pure light. Grounded, held, supported by earth, nourished, vibrant and enlightened by air. Arriving, arriving, arrived. Enjoying being here now exactly as you are. And as we invite the sound of the singing bowl to wash through and seal in this beautiful space, can you simply allow yourself, allow the body, allow the breath to be exactly as it is now. Gently lengthening the breath, inviting movement into the body and opening the eyes if they're not already open. Welcome. Welcome. Welcome to Spiraling Within. I'm Pei-Ling Lee, and here we spiral within the present moment together. And it's just me and you. It's just me and you today. I've had a couple guests reschedule this week in alignment with divine time. And so I'm so honored to just get to hang out with you and with Spiraling Within in this spiraling space. I'm honestly, where I'm inspired to begin is really just with gratitude. Well, actually, we began deeply in the body, which is a theme, and is very present for me in this moment. And gratitude for this container, this beautiful multi-dimensional space, this podcast that this is now episode 19 of. It's been 19 weeks. It's honestly, I chuckle because it feels like just yesterday I was dreaming about one day having a podcast and not knowing what that podcast would be. Actually, in fact, I took a podcasting class my final semester of college. So the beginning of 2019, I was in a class called podcasting, and it was all about learning how to podcast. And at the time through college, I did listen to a lot of podcasts, which ironically, I don't listen to any podcasts now. I don't even listen to this podcast, at least not on a physical plane level. And I the mind is blank, and I'm being invited into the body again. This is a theme. Like I said, being in the body is a theme. Last week in therapy, which I'm so grateful to be at the beginning of a new container of therapy, kind of traditional therapy. However traditional therapy is. I think my therapist is this one. I don't remember her style of therapy, but I think the first word is eclectic. So the fact that her therapy is described as eclectic probably is not quite traditional therapy. Regardless, in therapy last week, my therapist invited the question, are you in your body, or were you in your body just now when you were speaking? For context, the therapy session began and I started talking. Well, actually, the therapy session began and she was silent. And I immediately, there was confusion and slight discomfort and a bit of a calibration and an adjustment of just kind of realizing that she wasn't going to ask me a question, realizing she wasn't going to prompt me. And so then it's like, okay, well, there's all this spaciousness, all this silence, and what now? And so I ended up just closing my eyes and I was like, I'm just going to take a moment to tune in and arrive. Which, even the fact that this beautiful podcast begins with me with my eyes closed arriving is that it really helps me orient in the space and center regardless of what has been, regardless of what has unfolded in the past moments, days, even years. It's this reset where with the eyes closed and just tuning into my direct present moment experience and inviting you to do the same and beginning from that center point. And so I did the same in this therapy session where I said, hi, and then she said, hello, and then that was it. And then silence, spaciousness. I then tune in and I listen, and then I just started chatting about some things that I'd been ruminating on and hanging out with in the past week. And it's August 1st today. It's August 1st on this day that I am recording, August 1st, 2022. And really the past couple weeks, July is quite a month. July is quite a month with much shifting, revelation, illumination, and what came up for me was this strong invitation and desire for routine and commitment, devotion, groundedness. And so at the beginning of last week, well, it's either been a week or two now, but I've been waking up at the same time each morning, which that alone, just starting, and I've been adding bit by bit. I'm just waking up at the same time each morning and having the same routine of movement in the morning. And what I have been doing, that so far I'm like in the groove now, and I am committed to this daily morning routine of waking up at 6 a.m., drinking warm water, brushing my teeth, washing my face, doing my sun salutations. I just do 5 sun A's and 3 sun B's. So since I've just decided to kind of clip off the Ashtanga primary series and just do the first 5 sun A's and 3 sun B's, which is plenty for me as a realistic daily routine. And then after the sun salutations, I then go on a walk. 1 mile down the street in the neighborhood, there's a nearby park reserve, and there are deer and trees and squirrels and lots of lovely nature bird sounds. And so I've been doing the exact same walk to the exact same tree, sitting at the base of the tree on the exact same stump on the same root, and meditating for a few minutes. And then when I feel complete there, I walk around the tree and I give the tree a kiss around the same place, and I say, thank you, tree, I love you. And I walk out, and then I jog/run the mile back. And then when I get back, I touch there's a little fountain in the front garden, and there's an umbrella in the fountain, like there's a statue with an umbrella, and I tap the umbrella and that's my completion, and then I click on my watch saying run is complete, and at that exact moment, as soon as I reach the end, I run exactly 1 mile, and so I've gotten to see my mile time after having run consistently for a week and a half. And then go and have my breakfast, which is at the same time, around 8:15, and then I've been going to an 8:45 bar class. And so all of that, there's been an invitation for me, a self-invitation, to practice discipline. And I realized that I have, and it's not much of a realization, I definitely know that I haven't been activating my skill of discipline that I got to really have very active for the vast majority of my life, all through, it's only in the past couple years that I've swung and allowed myself to relax on the discipline front and really just go with the flow on every level. And what these past couple weeks have allowed me to notice about that is that it is all balance, isn't it? And from a multi-dimensional perspective, when I zoom out of this direct, individual, personal human experience, I truly believe and I experience that everything is always in balance. Even if the mind might have stories about something not being in balance or not being in alignment, in, as they say, the grand scheme of things, I find that it is. And part of landing, existing, engaging with human existence on Earth in a material physical plane where most are primarily operating from, there is duality and there is the experience of duality, at least. And so it's been a journey for me to allow myself to experience duality. Maybe it's not experience. Even this right now, do you see how if you're watching this video, there was a thought that appeared, an idea, an inkling, and then I turned and gazed out into the window, into the vast distance, and even just noticing that behavior, my energy is being brought outside, because my habit has been to tune in and connect with ideas through the crown and above, through the third eye and beyond, and really channel from around and outside the body. And so what I'm practicing, and this is part of the discipline, because it's like a wandering eye. It's like there are all these infinite potential paths, and it's so wonderful to remember that there's infinite possibility and that there are incredible, just all these different paths and all these different timelines that I see clearly and experience viscerally. And also recognizing that in this moment on the physical plane, my body, this body that I am in, that I choose to be in, is only in one place. Yes, it is also multidimensionally in all places, in many places. And I am in one place. I am experiencing one thing at the same time that I'm experiencing all things. And so coming to the condensation of infinite possibility to the possibility that then manifests and actualizes, because that's what it is. It's like there are infinite possibilities that are multidimensional, energetic, etheric, astral, or in those planes. And then not all of those manifest in my experience of this timeline in the physical plane. So those may all be experienced and are actualized in different dimensions or different timelines, but I am in this timeline, and I am in this physical dimension of the multi-dimensions. Even as I chuckle, even just noticing the body and the mind and how the system is so gravitating towards drifting out into the distance, looking up at the stars, because I've gotten to experience so much comfort and love and support and guidance from all of these cosmic, multidimensional, non-physical planes. And in my commitment and choice and recommitment to being here, choosing to be on Earth as the human Pei-Ling Lee at this time, I'm just brought back into the body. And what is it, instead of when I turn and gaze out the window, noticing that behavior and turning my gaze down and inward into the body? And it's a both and. There's the channeling energies, channeling frequencies and inspiration. And I can also channel that from inside me, because ultimately it's all coming from inside me. I do experience a difference between if I'm primarily operating from a mind space, even if it is a multi-dimensional mind space, an abstract spiritual mind space, even if it is an embodied spiritual mind space, it's kind of like, where is my energy focused? And it's not in my brain. Like, it's not in my brain, but it's definitely primarily has been flowing through the brain, like flowing through the head mind area, rather than my expression flowing up from the roots of the earth, or flowing through my womb space, my sacral creativity, or even, see, then I just glanced up, and where am I looking? It's not the consciousness, it's the subconscious. It's the way that my programming has been unfolding and guiding my behaviors and my patterns in this moment. And so I'm narrating my awareness of what I notice, because all of that is the practice of I'm chuckling because, as I said, the practice of, there was a blank, and really in that moment there were no words coming from the mind, and so I glanced up with my eyes looking for the next word, or maybe even not looking, listening for the next word, waiting to receive, being open to receive the next word that would come through. And what would it be like as an experiment for myself to, in those moments of silence, because this is full circle back to the therapy session that began in silence, and that underlying itch to fill silence with sound versus resting in silence. Resting in the silence, I notice that all the sensations of the body become clarified and amplified. Dropping down from the mind if the center point of the energy from which I'm communicating through and from, I'm now consciously dropping that awareness down from between the eyebrows. And if you are listening or watching, you can explore the same of where is the energy focused as you are listening or watching. Where is your energy resting, pulsing, vibrating, sensing, tingling even. And so I feel that between the eyebrows. And also at the base of my feet. And at the backs of my thighs upon the chair. And there's a sinking heaviness in the belly. And the cool thing is that where I notice sensation of mini sparks of electrical tingles, where my physical body comes in contact with another surface, whether that surface is my own skin, with the hardwood floors, with the chair that I'm sitting upon. Yawning. The yawning is the body releasing. There's energy moving, which is all welcome to flow. And as I was describing the contact point between my body and the surface, and I invite you to notice where your body contacts the surface, whether that surface is even the fabric of the clothing upon your skin. And explore with awareness if there is a definitive line between where your body ends and the surface begins. When I tune in, the sensation is blurry. It's simply this general fuzziness of sensation. And tuning into that softness, the softness of the line that isn't actually a solid line, but is just space and vibration, reminds me that I am not as separate as I may seem, that I'm actually one with everything around. And that is something that I can directly experience, and that I do directly experience in the somatic sensations. Of the body in any given present moment. And there's a peace here. I'm just letting the mind rest, the eyes rest, even letting the shoulders relax, and the abdominal muscles relax as I sink back into being held by the chair. What is it like to, just like in the meditation at the beginning, sink into a chair, sink into the earth, sink into the support that is already always beneath you. That it's a both and. It is wonderful that I can actively engage my muscles and lengthen my spine and crown tall. And I can soften into the support of the chair behind. I can rest back. And I can find a bit of both. Sitting up, even leaning forward a bit, finding a neutral spine where the shoulders are stacked upon the hips, and still allowing the spine to be fluid and loose, letting the belly be soft. And so this bodily exploration is quite a fitting. I just did what I said that I intended to, where there was a blank of what word was going to fill the space. And I noticed that I didn't look up, I looked down. It's so amazing. It's so amazing to witness and observe the nuances of being here and being human. Oh. Yawning is so great. And if you watch me yawn and you yawn too, yay for yawning. As I've been aware of being in my body at all times except for when I'm sleeping, in this experiment of what is it to be in the body and channel, speak, create, express, live from within the body, which I had been doing just in different ways, in just different pathways, where the mind, in observing or sitting atop the body, had a reluctance of descending within it, and was doing all sorts of things to not to avoid descending into the sensational experience of the body, including playing out repeated patterns and programs and habits of avoidance and numbing and dissociation, all out of love. The mind simply desires my easeful comfort and safety, joy and well-being. And in that idea of discipline, even the practice of showing up and doing something, even if I don't feel like it. And the I that doesn't feel like it is, in my case, in my experience, it's the mind. It's the toddler throwing a tantrum saying, no, I don't want to wake up. I want to stay in dream space. No, I don't want to go on a walk. Or let's just stay on our phone for longer because it's fun to watch YouTube videos, and let's just eat all this yummy food and just be entertained. Let's just be entertained and distracted all the time. And let's only do something if we really feel like it. Because if we really feel like it, then that means it's something that is aligned to do. And so there was this really subtle element of the mind playing out like the ego mind, only wanting me to do things when I felt a spark of inspiration. And as much as we can know, as much as I can know all of those creative process, I've heard all the creative process things of, you show up to create anyway, and then the inspiration comes. Just showing up at the blank page, and then you hang out there because the inspiration always comes. And so I've been hanging out in the land of inspiration rather than the practice of manifestation. And yes, everything is always manifesting. That's not an absolutely true statement. I have continued to manifest and create. Even the language of the mind can be very all or nothing. But generally, I've been really enjoying experiencing and attuning and heightening and amplifying my sparky, clear connection with divine inspiration, with cosmic inspiration, with all of the wonderful, energetic, etheric realms. And even as I begin talking about that, the speed with which I'm speaking has increased. I am turned now, looking out to the window. The sun is shining, which even that, the idea of solar rays and solar codes as being these sparks and frequency downloads of inspiration. There's this fire, this light that sparks, and as the yawn reminds me that I am in my body. I am in this body. And one of the fears that the mind runs is that if I am living from my body, if I'm living from a state of physical presence, embodiment, relaxation, nourishment, then it'll be so slow. Nothing will happen because the body moves so slow, or because I move so slow when I am in the body. That idea of the body dragging me down, the physical body dragging me, the being of weightless, pure light energy, the body dragging me down to earth. And that's a valid story, valid experience of the mind. And if I reframe that, there's another part that recognizes the beauty and importance of being in a physical body on earth, and also that nobody's doing this to me. I am fully choosing this experience. And even just questioning that idea that things happen slowly when I'm living from my body, there are countless examples, even just from the past couple weeks, where there's been much that changes quickly, much that is created quickly from the body and from living in the body. And there's a special type of satisfaction when the multi-dimensional energetic realms, the spiritual realms, even, for example, prayer, manifests in the physical plane. That's the wonder and magic of synchronicities. Like seeing synchronicities like the times on the clock, or driving on the road and passing by a building that has a poster with the exact message that was just for you in that moment. It's so cool. It's so cool, and it's amazing, awe-inspiring to get to experience the physical realm, the physical plane, the material world from and in magic, divinity, synchronicity, alignment, harmony, love. And yeah, this expression of Pei-Ling being Pei-Ling is an adjustment for me, in that there's just more hanging out in the silence. And in the silence, and also in the sensation. And the sensation can be, for the mind, uncomfortable. It can absolutely be uncomfortable. The past few days, there's been so much just mental activity that I've been aware of, which this term came to me earlier today. Fear storm. It's like there's a fear storm that's happening. A storm of fear. And even in, for example, when I do Shavasana, which is corpse pose, where you are lying flat on your back at the end of a yoga practice, that my dropping into that state of peace and just the state of peace that I have been accustomed to dropping into really quickly in meditation. There's just a lot more mental activity that I've been hanging out with, and that makes total sense. It's kind of like in the journey of descension, or embodiment, or grounding, where my awareness is shifting centralized conscious focus from my cosmic connections and my cosmic self to expand down, because it's not that those ever go away, and that's the beauty of showing up at a blank page and trusting that inspiration always comes. Those cosmic energies are always there. The stars are always there. They're not going anywhere. And it's trusting that my connection, now that all those channels and pathways are remembered, that they're not going anywhere. And I am also here to live a human experience. If I were here to just hang out with the unicorns and the angels all the time, which, that would just be a particular path. But I'm also here to hang out with plant friends and human beings and animals and objects in the physical plane. And the silence is now here again. And the silence is welcome. And I feel my feet. And I think my breath. My breath, the breath, I think, the breath that flows through me, that flows through us. The sky I see, da-do, da-da-da-da-da-dee. Even listening, practicing, listening down, listening in. Listening globally. Oh, I went blurry on the camera. There's my palm. And here's my forehead. The tree is such a beautiful teacher. Plants are. I've gotten to do a lot of growing up. And I've gotten to do a lot of growing down and growing out. And this is just another season of growing down, growing the roots down. Which this year for me, my personal year, which you get by adding up the month and the day, the digits of the month and the day that you were born. So for me, it's April, and then the digits add up to 3. And so 7, 4 plus 3 is 7, plus for 2022, that's a 6. 2 plus 2 plus 2 is 6. So 7 plus 6 is 13, which equals 4, because 1 plus 3 is 4. And in a 4 year, the 4 is so much foundations, family, structure, routine, body, the physical experience, just rootedness. It's like the pillars, the elements. What are those foundational elemental building blocks of my life? And that's absolutely been present for me throughout this year of focusing on rooting, routine, foundations, structure, and trusting that. And then also, now that I've been living it for the past week, experiencing how that structure can be so deeply nourishing. It's like the essence of earth. Earth is just so nourishing. And whether that's being barefoot in the sand or barefoot in the soil, or food. Food has been the primary strategy that it's kind of like my mind, the way that my mind was programmed. Food was like a win-win. By eating denser, heavier, sugary foods, I could ground myself while having it be really yummy and tasty and enjoyable. And there are physical consequences or physical ripple effects or repercussions to that aren't actually nourishing and enjoyable for me being in a physical body. In the moment, it may make perfect sense for my mind to sit in front of a TV with a bag of something light and crunchy and just chomp away. And then my belly, when it's bloated, feels the after effects. And that's been a cycle that's played out time and time again. And I'm so grateful to be in a place where I've even just put my hand upon my heart because I have such love and tenderness and compassion for myself, really. Myself and anyone who's ever experienced that what I would term programmed or addictive patterning, which for me happens to be in the case of overeating or making just food choices that aren't necessarily the most, on a physical plane level, not necessarily the most nourishing for my physical system. That I can love myself through it all, and that I don't feel the charge of shame or guilt that I did a few years ago. I would have behaviors of going to get ice cream from the fridge, but then hiding and not wanting anybody to catch me eating the ice cream. And I remember in my prior therapy stint a few years ago, my therapist asked, what would happen? Like, what would it be like if you ate ice cream every single day? And that hypothetical was quite challenging to even imagine, because I had such a strong inner critic and such a strong, ever-present inner judger that would be like, oh my gosh, I would just be a bad human, a terrible human, unworthy of love and belonging if I ate ice cream every single day. And so getting to really be with all those different parts, notice and observe and meet with compassion and love all these various parts that are each doing the best that they can and know how and are programmed to in any given moment to serve not only my well-being, but the well-being of everyone, of all of humanity, of the earth, of the collective. That I've gotten to experience, I've gotten to experience eating a pint of ice cream one night late at night and still, I guess, loving myself, still experiencing that I am worthy, that I am loved, that I am whole, that I'm well, and yeah, that's just a really wonderful thing that I'm grateful to get to check in with now and reflect back to even where I was a year ago with these types of behaviors, or a year prior to that. Because it's not really for me about whether or not I ever eat ice cream again, or even sugar, or something that I quote unquote shouldn't eat. Because that's what it is, right? The mind has stories and labels of what I should eat and what I shouldn't eat, what is good and what isn't good. And maybe it's not food, maybe it's a behavior. Like maybe it's sleeping in or missing a day. Zooming out from the direct circumstance, everything is unfolding, I choose to believe, and I experience perfectly in alignment with and for my journey, with and for my experience, with and for my service to the collective. Because even that, the idea of everything that I experience is in service, even if the mind doesn't see how or why yet. Like, the body is really inviting me down to the belly. The belly, which I've gotten to transform and evolve my relationship with over the past 20 years. It's the first time I remember judging. My belly was very young. It's the earliest that I can remember, maybe between the ages of 4 and 6, where I would glance down at my belly and wish that it wouldn't be so round or soft, or wish that it looked a certain way, that it was flatter. And it's so much more peace with my belly as it is now. And of course there are moments of desiring to be different, whether that is the belly or the body in any kind of way. And the one that desires the body to be different is in this circumstance, basically the vision that I'm getting right now, it's kind of like the mind looking down upon the body. And the mind believes that it knows best. The mind believes that it knows best, and what is best for me, what is best for the body. And the mind is like, oh, body, this needs to change and this needs to change, because if these things don't change, then we're not good enough. We're going to be rejected. We're never going to succeed in life. Then that means that we're not taking care of ourselves, which means that we're bad people. All of these do. And the belly is just like, let me be. The voice of the belly is just like, can I just be as I am? Can I please just be as I am? Can I please be soft and relaxed? Can I just let go? And that idea of letting go is, even with digestion, it's like, can I digest all that I'm experiencing, all that I'm consuming, ingesting from life, from all the people that I encounter, all the food that I eat? And can I just integrate what's for me and let go of what isn't? And the belly is already doing that. The digestion is already doing that always, all the time. And that's the fact that our digestive system, that our bodies turn food into energy and into us, is just, it's just, it is incredible. It's even, the funny noise is that it's even unfathomable to the mind to comprehend and grasp just all of the infinite processes that are happening within the body at any time. And the great news is, at least for me, I don't need my mind to grasp anything. I'm kind of uninterested in grasping. Oh my gosh, I'm just hearing that and realizing how that's also part of it. It's sometimes grasping is good. Sometimes grasping is helpful. If I'm hanging from a pull-up bar, grasping is helpful. But can I grasp and be relaxed? Can I lengthen my spine and sink into my roots? And I grow tall and deep. Another yawn. There we go. Yeah, because if I'm rejecting anything, if I'm uninterested in grasping, there's still some subtlety of avoiding certain qualities of life. Like if I'm only choosing ease, then what I've gotten to experience is it's partially the mind is avoiding discomfort, or that can happen. But the great news about something like discomfort is you really don't, at least for me, I don't need to go out and look for discomfort. There's the opportunity to experience sensation that the mind deems as uncomfortable, often. Whether it's even the wind and walking outside and it being a little chilly, or the belly being extra full, or maybe even bumping the knee, or stubbing the toe. All these sensations. Or, very valid discomfort, entering an environment or situation or a space or being surrounded by people that there is dissonance or disconnection experienced on a mind, human 3D level. I do really enjoy these lengthier pauses of silence. Because the beauty and the gift of being in the body and the opportunity is being the love and the light that we are, that I am in the body, and amplifying those frequencies, anchoring those frequencies from a cellular level in my bones, having my bones, my entire skeleton and all the fleshy tissue and my toenails and my hair and all the veins and the blood pumping, all of it seeing it, feeling it, glowing, glistening, illuminating with, in this moment, like a golden liquid of pure light. And how in the body, this body indirectly experience sensation, that golden light, or whatever light. Maybe you're also imagining and experiencing this in your body, and the light's not golden. Maybe it's green. Maybe it's rainbow or pearly silver. And that's the beauty, is that our systems know exactly what is nourishing for us in any given moment. We 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 Yeah, the mind is just a little chitter chatter box, isn't it? It just kind of flits and it floats to all these different places, and that's the practice of discipline and noticing on my walks in the morning or my jogs how on my walk to the tree, the mind can be drifting off into the future, drifting off into a to-do list, drifting, and it's a practice, it's a discipline for me to bring the mind back and to bring it down into the body and just focus on the one step that I'm taking at any given time and the physical sensations of that step, feeling the ground beneath my feet, the leaves on the trees around, slowing down, noticing my breath, and that the mind may drift and then recenter, and then the mind may drift, and the practice of centering. And on the jog back, because there's an intensification of the sensation that happens when jogging is occurring, or any type of really physical activity, where there is, of course, a spectrum of intensity. But any type of physical activity, it's one strategy that I know that I have used in the past, and actually, even when I just started jogging a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, my strategy was I would intentionally dissociate from the physical sensation in order to cultivate endurance. It's like the mind protecting me from the discomfort of the physical body by disconnecting me with the discomfort of the physical body. And so even something like gazing at the horizon and just focusing all of my awareness and attention there rather than on my physical sensations, which that is absolutely a valid strategy. And I'm just trying out a different, I'm experimenting with being in the body. And so rather than my mind looking at where I'm going, I've been practicing turning my gaze inward and focusing my awareness on each step. It's like the sensation of this step, and now this step, and now this step. And that's why I begin these meditations, begin these episodes, open the space of spiraling within, with arriving. That each moment I've arrived. Anywhere that I'm ever going is already right here, fully here in this moment. And I love the image of the lotus blossom blossoming again and again and again. That there's nowhere else to go, there's nowhere else to focus but right here and right now. And the mind in that, in the encountering of physical sensation, physical discomfort, really just any kind of amplified physical sensation of jogging or exercise, there's a voice that I've noticed come up as I jog that's like, I can't do it, or rarely is it I can't do it. I'm considering. It's like, I don't want to do this, let's stop. I don't want to do this, let's stop. And there's a discipline for me of being essentially like the responsible adult in the car of my life, and having this, let's stop, I don't want to do this voice be in the back seat, trusting and remembering that it's okay for the mind to be uncomfortable and for me to do it anyway. And there's discernment in all of this. There's a difference in the quality and the voice of something truly holistically, spiritually, energetically, divinely not being aligned, and the voice of the urgent mind complaining or just freaking out because it feels like my safety and well-being or my life is threatened because there's discomfort present. Yeah. Well, this has been a spiraling, unexpected experience that I'm grateful to get to share with you. And however your experience of the mind is, your experience of the body is, in this moment, I'm sending and amplifying love and light and gratitude for and from each of us. As even in the silence, there is sound. Even in the sound, there is silence. And in both, we are already united, home, at peace, abundant and blessed, loved and supported throughout it all. And so with that, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And much love.